Hey there, folks. This is Juan Arauz, one of the heads of the Ravens flock and host of the Black Files, and we are presenting you with a special treat. We're actually presenting you a throwback edition. We don't really do re-uploads or re-releases very often. However, considering the recent developments with Anime Matsuri refusing to make any sort of adjustments to their convention scheduling this year for 2020, we figured we would bring up the following re-release, which was originally published on February of 2018 for your enlightenment. Considering the circumstances, we hope that you enjoy this show. And of course, if you want to download it, it's free to download on SoundCloud, Stitcher Podcasts, and iTunes. With that being said, away we go.
The Ravens Flock presents The Black Files, an uncensored interview and review podcast for all geek fandom.
Welcome, everybody, friends and pals, guys and gals, boys and girls around the world, pop and squad, pop open, boys and gals or whatever. It is Monday. We are now in the week of February. We're in the month of February. You can tell how flustered and screwed up I am over all this. But thankfully, you won't be once you start listening in to this brand new episode of The Black Files.
Woo! Justice!
Justice.
Okay, maybe not woohoo.
Why? How is this not woohoo?
Well, our subject matter is not lighthearted.
Okay, yeah, no, you're right, but it is very, very important for us to talk about here. If those of you listening in, this is the Black Files. This is our this is the podcast of the Ravens flock, and of course, this is your host Juan Arauz, one of the heads of the Ravens flock. And joining me on this episode, we have Jose Casabona on my left.
I'm ready to tackle this damn issue down.
And on my right, we've got KStorm with us here. Say hello.
Say hello.
Works for me.
You're not Siri. You're not Alexa. You're not one of those home service AIs. You don't have to copy me.
But I like to.
Yeah, real cute. Okay.
Also, Strawberry Kitty.
Wait, what's that supposed to mean? What's Strawberry Kitty? Oh, you've... pardon me. KStorm is on a Tumblr kick, and she found a picture of actual fucking strawberry. There we go. We just broke the fuck barrier. And in the shape of a cat. All right. And for those of you listening in on this episode, we've actually got something a little bit more serious to deal with. Normally, we're doing reviews and stuff, but this has actually been an issue that's been going on in the cosplay and the anime convention world for the better part of the last 2 months now. And it's actually finally reached a head just a little while ago here. And this is the... I guess we could call it a legal battle of Anime Matsuri versus the YouTube channel Scarfing Scarves, headed up by a Lolita cosplayer by the name of Taylor Willis.
Tyler.
Tyler Willis. Why did I say Taylor Willis? Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me? Oh my
It's
gosh.
okay. Angel
my gosh.
makes the same mistake with the word.
No. I don't make those mistakes. I watched this stuff a jillion times, and I was looking at Tyler in my eyes, and I said Taylor. What is wrong with me? And for those of you listening into this stuff, and yes, we are going to be discussing the ongoing quote-unquote slander and copyright claim that this anime convention has struck against a YouTuber who, very much like the Ravens flock, talks about the news and talks about goings on in the Lolita community specifically.
But she does it better. I can learn from her.
Yes, you can. Take notes. Before we go any further, I have to remind you, for our first-time listeners, this is an uncensored interview and review podcast, as was mentioned by me breaking the fuck barrier earlier. So if we discuss anything fandom-related, there will be spoilers and shit. If there's anything that we're going to be discussing, it will be of our own personal opinions, and these opinions are those of us explicitly and not those of any specific entity. But more importantly, KStorm has an addition for this episode that she's going to throw down for you.
For all of our new and current listeners, considering the topic of today's podcast, I am now issuing a trigger warning. And we... Stop that.
No,
and
it's
we
a warning.
don't...
Warning, Blair.
And we don't... You have, as listening to us, you notice we don't place trigger warnings, but the subject matter is at hand. The trigger warning is for abuse, specifically that of the sexual kind, also sexual harassment. If hearing about situations that have happened triggers you, we advise have a friend listen to this and tell you what happened.
Mm-hmm. And of course, barring that, this is like the first time we've actually had a real trigger warning on the Black Files, right, Joe?
Indeed, but it's something I would like to throw out there. I always say this in every episode, and it applies to this one too, especially more to this one, since we're going to be sharing a lot of information from this situation. That it's already public, but still,
this is all public knowledge by now. But
I know. I encourage our listeners out there to keep their minds open and be respectful, especially considering the subject of what we're about to discuss.
Yep.
If you are amongst the intelligent folk, my advice is listen to everything from beginning to end before you jump in and make any comments.
You're implying that there's non-intelligent folk out there, but only intelligent people listen to us.
Well, you'd be surprised how many
You'd be very
unintelligent-
surprised. I'm not.
I was giving our people the benefit of the doubt. Thank you for insulting all of our listeners.
No, it's not
I mean,
our
that's-
listeners we have listeners who listen in for the sole purpose of taking a dump on everything we say and do. Like, for instance, people who subscribe to us on our YouTube channel just to give us a thumbs down. But you still count as a subscriber, and your views still count. So, haha, take that.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, people were actually interested in hearing what we got to say about this, and how basically when we found out about this, like about 4 weeks ago.
Yeah,
almost,
exactly.
And I was like telling Jose and Angel and KStorm about this, and this was nuts.
Yeah. Well, let me close that little part off by saying I rest my case, and if they prove me wrong, then I'm proven wrong.
What case are you resting?
The thing that KStorm called me out on.
On saying that we have non-intelligent listeners?
Okay, so you're resting your case on what? The fact that I said that we have people who troll us? So, okay, we're getting off topic.
Right,
you know what?
Moving
Yeah.
along. Moving
Okay,
along.
please.
Please.
Okay, I'm going to give you guys basically the rundown on all this. I came across this information. I came across this problem when I started following up with some folks in our community here in Florida, and they turned me on to the situation involving Anime Matsuri. Anyone who knows this, Anime Matsuri takes place in Houston, Texas. It is considered one of the top 10 anime conventions in the entire country, as in, like, this is one of the top tier cons, and they annually get a massive influx of international guests and all sorts of attractions and stuff. And for the most part, people who come to this con for its own merit without associating it with the owners of the convention, they seem to have a generally good time. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a top 10 con, would it? However, this story does have a dark side, and that it comes from the owners of the convention, John and Denise Lee. They're a married couple, and basically, along with running this convention, they have a clothing line that they have a little boutique shop in Houston called Shop in Wonderland, which is, as was aptly proclaimed, as a brand that looks like something from Gymboree if they didn't go out of business, except it's marketed to adults. Basically, you have artists and designers in Japan who come up with the awesome like artwork and the design of the clothing, and these guys basically put their stamp on it. You know, sort of the same way that you'd have like a Britney Spears brand of perfume or whatever. It's really just like someone else does the work, and she's like, oh hey, I like the way this smells. and click or whatever. But
Not bad.
like, yeah, not bad if you're looking for cheap marketing. But yeah, I rest my case. Anyway, along with that clothing brand, along with running this con, there have been, and this has been historically proven, and there has been public record for at least 2 years now, going on 3, that John Lee, like we said, he's one of the owners of Anime Matsuri. He has had claims of sexual harassment levied against him that have been proven by people who were convention attendees, who were guests of the convention as well. And there's even been an instance where one of the other businesses that the Lees run was an arcade, and there was an underage girl who traded her phone number to him in exchange for points because he was basically suggesting that to her, and was also suggesting that he does other things, that she does other things with him.
To clarify that bit,
yes, please do.
the underage young lady was a regular of the arcade. He would come when she's with her friends, and he would make a point of sitting right next to her, flirting and the like. And mind you, she is underage, and at the time she was of an age where you still pretty much listen to authority figures, and if they're doing something wrong, you're not sure how to stop them. He would flirt with her. I remember hearing that he would put his hand on her person in a sexual manner.
Ugh.
Which, the age difference right there. No, that's just wrong.
Fucking jizzbag, but go on.
Thank you for that. Joe, you've seen the picture of this guy, right? Sorry, I didn't realize you weren't done.
No, I wasn't done.
Please continue.
And as Juan said, he heavily implied, hey, this is giving me if you give me your number, I will give you all these points for my arcade, and you'll get do so much better in my arcade. And of course, being a gamer and probably not sure how to say no, she did indeed give him her number. And I don't remember if it was a couple of weeks or a few months later, he sent her a text asking, so when are we having sex?
Again, fucking jizzbag.
That is not you can't say that is a misunderstanding, that she was misinterpreting his intent.
He was literally, it was a text that he sent.
He specifically asked an underage girl when they were going to be having sex. And I don't care if you think that she was inviting it by not saying no. She didn't have the burden of having to tell him no. He has the burden of not even making the advances in the first place because she's an underage child.
One would think that, like, with him being married with his wife, who doesn't look half horrible, one would think
she don't look half bad, no.
One would think that, I don't think I really need to cheat on my wife. I don't really think I need to do this.
And when the worst of it, now that you've brought her up.
Yes, please. Denise Lay, by the way, yes.
Is when these accusations were brought directly to her, she was apologist and victim blaming, saying that all of this was
the girl's fault.
The girl's fault. Not his. And you know what we all think about victim blaming here on the flock?
On the
Fucking
Ravens flock.
bitch bag. I can't say
Exactly.
jizzbag because it doesn't apply to her.
True. But bitch bag, does that work? Does that work as an insult?
Bitch bag.
Like-
Slime works.
Slime? Okay. Slime
Fine.
bag?
Considering she's enabling a pedophile.
Oh, I wanted to keep a bag count.
Okay.
Go on.
So can we settle with slime bag?
We can settle with slime bags.
Fine, fucking slime bag.
There
That's
we go.
3. 3 bags. Go on.
And anyone who's ever gone through something like that or worse knows the pain of going to someone who you've been told, hey, if this happens, go to a responsible adult. Yeah?
Yeah.
We've all
Right,
been told
of
that.
course.
Yes.
Yet when you go to that responsible adult, in this case, his wife, because as is as one would expect, you would expect the wife to be able to put a check on her husband's behavior and vice versa before trying to go over their heads.
Right.
To say police or the like. When she went to who she thought was a responsible adult, someone she could trust.
That adult basically betrayed that trust and told her to fuck off.
Basically.
Yeah, the fact that the wife was willing to defend her husband and deflect the whole thing, saying that it's the girl's fault, tells us that she doesn't condemn any of his actions.
She's
she's enabling him.
She enables him and likely has known about this for years and does not care.
How the fuck do you stay with someone like that?
Fucking
Holy
slime
shit.
bag.
No.
4.
Like this is a level of self-denigration and lack of self-respect I cannot fucking imagine. Like, does he have like a fucking contract over her head or some shit that
Or-
he's like blackmailing her into
Or
staying with her?
worse.
Or what?
Well, if you think about it, the fact that she's turning it around means she doesn't think what he did is wrong.
No,
I'm going to leave this next bit is completely hypothetical because there is no proof.
remember, folks, we're not making
There is no evidence.
This is simply a hypothetical
This
form.
is a
so
hypothetical.
anyone saying that this is a
Accusation or anything like that
Mhm.
is this is just where one's mind tends to go.
Go
If
ahead.
this woman is in fact condoning approaching underage children sexually in her husband's case, what's to say that she may not have acted on it because as I just said, there's no evidence, but what makes you think that she doesn't think that that's a good idea too?
You mean are you just posting a possibility she partakes in such behavior herself,
Or has considered it?
You know what? I wouldn't discount the possibility, in my opinion.
I think I'm gonna gag. Oh my god!
Because most people, when they hear, hey, this guy is approaching underage girls for sex, would either drop him like a hot potato, or if they're not in the situation where they can, they will ghost the person making the accusations. They'll just withdraw themselves from the conversation. But no, she is actively defending, which means she condones it on some level. To what level? We don't know.
Fucking disgraceful and irresponsible.
But coming back to the main topic on this
This brings you back to this is all the background.
is just the background.
KStorm's
But this
got
brings us up to Scarfing Scarves.
Which we mentioned earlier, Scarfing Scarves is the YouTube channel. Tyler Willis is the host of this.
Last week Lolita News.
Yep, and like we said, I showed her channel to Angel a few days ago, and he was laughing his ass off. He was basically saying this is the kind of level of salt that I wish we get more often.
It's very dry humor. It is snark to the snarkest degree.
And we love
But-
it.
Scarfing Scarves, the channel, put out on their last week Lolita News a call out of the situation. Had a few other people called out in there, but the important part is calling it out, bringing it to the public, or at least their viewing public, the situation. What was Mr. Lay's response?
Actually, Mr. Lay's response was over fucking whelming.
I was gonna say I have the response.
No,
that's
that's later.
That's
no.
the later
Okay,
response.
okay, go on.
We're
What-
talking
His first response.
his
Yes.
YouTube response.
Okay.
All right, and I've got this, Joe.
Go ahead, Juan.
I gave you that so you can read that later, but this is this. All right, so basically, in response to the Scarfing Scarves channel calling out the Lay's activities and
Lack thereof.
along with another
YouTuber.
another YouTuber for collaborating with them and thus enabling this lewd and lascivious behavior. Scarfing Scarves channel got hit with a copyright strike, and the channel had the video with this episode pulled down from YouTube. Now, you have to understand, for like anyone who knows YouTube 101, you have to act like, in order to get a copyright strike, you have like the person claiming it against you has to claim like that you've actually used their material specifically and claiming it as your own. Obviously, when it comes to a news-based channel like Scarfing Scarves,
That falls under fair use for journalism purposes.
and educational purposes as well. Now, all Tyler Willis did was refer back to the information that's publicly available on the Houston Press website. All you have to do is type in John Leigh, that's Leigh, Anime Matsuri. Type that into a search, and you'll get the Houston Press article about it, and it'll just give you all the information about the accusations that have been leveled against him. He's had guests from his convention complain that, hey, where's our hotel room and where's our interpreter? Like he wouldn't provide them, like, for some foreign guests.
That reminds me.
Like that they didn't give him interpreters or their own hotel room. What did he do instead?
He told one of their guests, "Oh, well, this is a single room with a single bed. Looks like you're going to have to be sharing with me." That is, of course, paraphrased, but that is basically what was said.
And it was disgusting, and it's even worse when there was another YouTuber or another guest that he had offered. I shit you not. And this is all coming from the Scarfing Scarves channel as well, which did their own research. Yes, all we're doing is basically like retweeting it, almost, as if you can say that.
Just the material that we got from the Scarfing Scarves episodes. However, we have done some of our own research in the matter, and we're going to show some of that, or rather tell you some of that here in a moment. Continue.
Where he's actually had guests, where he invited them to go purchase lingerie at a Victoria's Secret, and he told them they're going to have to wear the underwear that they want to purchase and that he would invite to pay for, and he would need them to send him the photos of them in the lingerie or whatever before actually letting him pay for the fucking stuff.
Supposedly in an effort to keep them from buying something extravagant.
Fucking jizzbag times 10. That's 14.
That's 14 bag count. Jose's creating a bag count on this episode because these guys, like this John Leigh guy, is a motherfucker. Oh my god.
That's also very douchebag.
Like, I thought we had trouble here in Florida with con owners being a-holes, but I didn't realize that Texas...
Texas has us beat.
No, yeah, Texas has us beat. You don't mess with Texas. Holy shit. No, Joe, like the stuff...
I know.
The stuff we put out, like the other time, what was it, 2 episodes ago, we had our thing with FAE. And yeah, we have our own misgivings when it comes to Tom Cruise, but I don't think we've ever actually heard of Tom Cruise doing anything this fucking horrible.
No, we have not, but let's also keep in mind that such actions like what we're talking about right now, they do not discriminate. It can happen anywhere. And it needs to be brought out.
You're damn right, it needs to be brought
straight.
out. That's what this shit's about. So,
but in addition to them getting that copyright strike, they also sent Scarfing Scarves a cease and desist letter, to which Scarfing Scarves responded by putting out another episode stating what had happened and reiterating the previous statements, to which a second copyright strike was placed. At which point, Scarfing Scarves, bless their hearts, went and got themselves a lawyer to fight the copyright claim. Because, as we all know, you get 3 copyright strikes on YouTube, your channel is permanently pulled down.
And this was...
And you are then banned.
Now, suffice it to say, when it comes to this shit... Like, you can understand our stance here as far as the Ravens flock goes. Everyone under our wings here, I guess, is that a good way to say that?
Yes, everyone under our wing.
Or is that too punny?
No, it's not. Shut up.
It's not too punny?
No.
Okay, right.
What
were you going to say, Juan? Go right ahead.
Come on.
All right. Well, basically, everyone under the Ravens flock can agree when it comes to censorship or when it comes to like freedom of the press, that shit don't fly. I'm trying not to sound punny again, but that shit does not fly. One of the things that I've personally got a real big beef with is like internet censorship. I've been clawing up and down when the whole thing went down with the FCC striking down the net neutrality laws that had just gone up a year prior. I went ballistic. I told Jose and Angel and everybody about it.
Back to the point.
Like if we just stay
Well,
on one point,
let's let
we're
Juan
here to discuss this stuff.
Well, just wrap it
I'll
up,
be coming
and
back
then we'll
to the point in a little bit.
Yeah, wrap it up, and then let's get
Okay.
back to the core of the subject.
Yes, but this is one of the key issues that we've got because we've actually the only times we've ever had any sort of like copyright situations on our end on the Ravens flock is concerned is whenever we have like a let's play or any music that we might be using snippets of. Even though it's within fair use and all, we only use a certain amount of music, and then after like a minute, it becomes like out of fair use or whatever the fuck. Like that's like the worst that we've ever gotten. Thank goodness we have like anytime we have like discussions or criticisms about shit when we haven't had anything stricken on against us like this. But that just goes to show you the vindictiveness and the small-minded pettiness of the Lays and the folks who are running at Anime Matsuri, which brings us back to this. Like when Tyler Willis had to contest the copyright claims, they wound up getting a lawyer because of this stupid cease and desist shit going on, and that forced YouTube to actually review the videos.
Instead of just pulling them down, oh, hey, this video got a copyright claim. Let's just pull it down. Let's not bother to review.
But thankfully,
YouTube had to review,
and they found that, and I said this is probably going to be a joke in poor taste, and I apologize in advance.
Go for it.
They came to a dance, and they didn't realize that they were Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump.
didn't have a leg to stand on.
You forgot Lieutenant Diane, didn't you, Jose?
It's been a very long time.
He got his
Use a
legs blown-
reference that we can that everyone can understand, Juan.
Okay, like anyone who's seen Forrest Gump, they know that there was this other character who went to Vietnam with Gump. He was Lieutenant Dan. He hated his guts because he was a dumbass or whatever, and he got his legs blown off, and he had to become an amputee and a paraplegic. So for the longest time in this movie, he would come across Lieutenant Dan and be like, oh my God, your legs, what happened? And Dan's like, I blame you. I had to save your life because you're a dumbass and my legs got blown off. Rada, rada, rada. At the end of it, what's his face? Gump gets married to that one skanky chick, whatever the fuck. And Lieutenant Dan came and saw him at his wedding and he's got prosthetic titanium legs. And Forrest Gump's like, oh my God, you got magic legs, Lieutenant Dan. Like, yeah, you idiot. I got
All right.
I'm happy for you, and I've forgiven you, and I'm sorry for the shit.
To explain the
Lieutenant
joke,
Dan.
because that one over there did not get the joke.
Only
Even
older
after I
people
went-
will.
How did you not remember Forrest Gump?
Even after I went over here saying, he said, like, Lieutenant Dan, and then I'm like, they don't have a leg to stand on, explaining it, and now you required a massive explanation.
Not really. We could have used a different joke. A joke that's a little more current.
Like Joker said.
If you have to explain the joke.
Okay, so how about we say this? YouTube fucked up.
No,
No.
John Lay fucked up.
Fine, John Lay fucked up, but YouTube kind of fucked up because they didn't do their job
No.
the first time.
They're
They
only
followed their procedure.
their procedure is they receive a copyright claim, they yank the video. Point blank, period.
Without reviewing?
They don't have to review.
Okay.
Unless,
okay.
of course,
Never mind.
unless of course
It's
the owner of
challenged.
the video challenges the copyright claim.
Which is what happened. They challenged it. YouTube goes back and reviews, and Scarfing Scarves got their videos put back.
Okay.
Which was hysterical. Like
Beautiful.
the funny thing was that while this was going on, since the before the cease and desist came down, the first and second videos, they were up on Scarfing Scarves Facebook page where YouTube can't reach them. So that information was getting out regardless. It was beautiful.
Nice.
Wait, you've got a bewildered look on you, KStorm. No?
No.
No?
No. Was just processing the thought.
What thought?
Oh, about how, for this reason and for several other reasons, some of which we've already spoken on, there is now a boycott Anime Matsuri group
Well, actually,
on Facebook, and
boycott-
it is becoming a very widespread thing.
Actually, boycott Anime Matsuri was going around a little bit before the Scarfing Scarves situation here.
Fair point, but
because
they are now gaining
a lot of
significant momentum.
Yep, and they've actually been following and retweeting the Ravens flock here on Twitter. Thank you for that
Thank
again.
you, guys.
Thank you for that.
Woohoo!
What are you woohooing for? Like, that's such a piddly woohoo. Actually, give some
Whoa! Moving on.
much better. See,
Thanks for blowing out the microphone.
I think you may have destroyed our equipment.
You'll know when our equipment is destroyed.
No, you don't. Actually, hang on. No, you're right. We're good. That was a much more emphatic woohoo, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, whatever.
Fucking hell. Anyway,
That's not going to stop me from insulting the audience. You know that.
like, the audience isn't who needs to be insulted over here. The audience are the people we're trying to tell about this asshole we thought we'd seen it all when it came to jerks who run conventions and shit, and people will give them a free pass because, oh, this con is so fun, but when they realize, like, hey, this con owner is kind of an asshole. I thought we thought we'd seen it all over here, like, but that's just in our own pool in Florida. Then we hear about this shit going on over in Texas, and that just blew everything out of the water.
Yeah, I know. And then shit happens, and now people are boycotting Anime Matsuri, which they should. As they should.
Like, and that sort of brings us to another point here. Like, this brings us to an interesting bit. All of this situation is stemming from the personal behavior that's been made public of the convention owner, of John Lay.
Mm-hmm.
With that in mind, do we, like, as much fun as you have in the con, do you correlate that to this owner? Or, like, can the con itself, like, continue without having to suffer from the backlash of the owner here? I'm pretty sure we already know the answer to this, but
it gets complicated, because if it was just that they were involved in Holiday Matsuri, or not Holiday Matsuri.
No, Holiday Matsuri is
Holiday
awesome.
Matsuri is awesome.
Holiday Matsuri is
Anime
fun.
Matsuri.
Juan,
see?
please don't interrupt. Go.
No,
You're interrupt.
he's fine. He helped correct me. If it was just that they were involved with Anime Matsuri and making a bad showing, that's one thing. Then yes, you could go and enjoy yourself all day long.
And
But-
no one will fault you.
The fact of the matter is, going to Anime Matsuri is financially helping support these douchebags. And
There's a back count.
there's another back count,
Times 20.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's what, 34 now? Yep.
something like that.
Yes.
Hey.
I'm not done with the bags, though. Try to keep a mental count. Not only does it financially support these douchebags, but it makes it look like you support their actions. Because you're looking at it and it's like, oh, well, they did this such a horrible thing, but because I enjoy this, I'm just going to let what they did slide and go and spend money that's going to go in their pockets anyway.
Alrighty. I guess I should put in my thoughts too.
Oh, yes, please.
And honestly, and I hate saying this, but to pull a page from Angel's book, pretty much repeating his statement from the last episode when we talked about FAE. Honestly, that's not going to stop the con from running, because people are going to continue putting money into the convention, and they're going to continue going into the convention, whether they heard about this news or not.
But that's not the question. The question is, do you think
That the actions of the con owner should be correlated to the enjoyment of the con?
Short answer. Actually, no, because the con owner's actions and the con itself are two separate things.
True, but the con
True.
owner is the one who's partaking in the negative actions over here.
And he has a lot of these accusations come from his actions during the convention
Oh,
So
to con attendees,
okay.
to con guests.
Okay, see, now that kind of complicates the answer then, because I kind
That's
of want
what
to
I
say
think.
yes and no. Yes, it does, because it's his name on the papers, and therefore if he does anything to fuck this up, that's gonna cause a lot of shit to happen with the rest of the convention and everybody else who works with him. I'm not done yet, and
chill.
All I was saying was exactly.
Yeah.
And
Calm down.
at the same time, no, I don't think it should correlate, because then, speaking as the attendee, as the fan, that's one more convention that will be shut down.
But I'm gonna ask you a question regarding your no. That his actions should not affect the convention. What if your little sister went to the convention back before she became of age and was harassed by this asshole?
What would we do?
What would you do?
Obviously, I would report him.
Exactly.
So,
By saying that his actions should not affect the convention,
okay.
you are putting every minor female and adult female that
risk of this
attends
asshole.
this convention or is a guest of this convention at risk for harassment or assault.
Okay, KStorm, how about rephrasing the question then? Rephrase the question so that I could have given a better answer.
No, you gave an
You gave an answer.
and I just gave a rebuttal. You say no because that will mean another convention gets shut down. I can understand your point of view on that, but then you have to look at the issue at hand is, as I was saying, the issue at hand is he is the owner. You go to this convention, he is going to be there. Any funds that go into that convention are going into his pocket. But the most important part is he is going to be there. Every single female, of age or not, is at risk
Of this guy's behavior.
Either remove him and his wife from the leadership or shut the convention down.
That was actually going to be my next point. That at the very least he should be removed, and they should appoint somebody else to run the convention.
But that's not going to happen. We all know this. Not without a fan outcry and a boycott.
No, it's not going to happen. And yes, I do agree with both of you that
I barely said much.
Yes, I know. And like I said, I'm trying to speak from the perspective of a person who pays to enjoy the convention weekend.
I am too.
All right.
But let him talk.
All right. If I can say something now.
Yes, please.
All right. Now here's what's up. Convention owners, by the nature of running these events, are public figures, just like you would with like a professional athlete or an actor or a politician or any of that other shit. Public figures, if they're running a business, their behavior in the public, as well as matters that become public, like let's say a private matter that gets out of hand and if the other person's involved, they report it, that becomes public. Their behavior has to be above reproach. It means you have to behave ethically. That means you have to behave as not an asshole. It means that if you want your business to not be tarnished by you being a dickhead or a dick bag, there's another bag there for you, Joe.
Times 50.
Times 50. So now we're up to 84 bags.
Yes.
85, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I used like 3. Actually, no. 88. I used like 3.
We're at crazy 88. Okay.
Go on.
So if you're behaving like an asshole and it becomes public, anything that you're tied to is also tied to, by the way, this is run by this asshole. Let me put it to you this way. Since we discuss wrestling and use wrestling terminology, and this is something that we can all understand. Back in the 90s, when Vince McMahon in the WWF, like when it was called the WWF back then, the WWE, whatever, they were embroiled in steroid use allegations. There were doctors there who were giving out steroids and steroidal drugs to the wrestlers left and right, and Vince McMahon himself was the head of the company, and it also became public that he was partaking in that shit too. He had to disassociate his actions from those of the company so that he could stand trial and so help save face. So what he wound up doing is that he stepped down as like the president of the company, and he appointed Linda McMahon, his wife, to take over the legal work on that shit. He wound up getting the charges wound up getting like what did they wound up like getting dismissed or dropped, right?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Like the case got closed down. And like Vince McMahon has had to change his image about the WWF since then. And you see that shit going on now that it's a publicly traded company. You've got stuff that that the people in the company have done or have been involved in that has not been necessarily up to snuff, and they've either been let go or disavowed by the company. A recent example is Enzo Amore. You're like you know what?
Oh, we all know.
All right. Long story short, for anyone who's not a big wrestling fan, Enzo Amore was the reigning cruiserweight champion. It's a light heavyweight kind of champion. Before he was suspended and then immediately fired and terminated from the company because apparently he's been under investigation from a sexual assault accusation since October. And not only was he under investigation, but he knew about it and had failed to tell the WWE or management that, hey, it might come out that I'm being investigated for this shit. I want you guys to know. If you don't want to use me or whatever, like, let me know. But he didn't say that. So, like, you got to take that into perspective here as well, Joe.
Okay.
Like, the company name and like the event, that like if you're any sort of businessman, the event has to be protected. If something happens to you, you got to step away from it. Or if there's like a fucking like an accusation, like let's say somebody comes out and says, "Oh,
Juan, I think I get your point. Now here's the part where I need to speak up because I feel like after what I've answered earlier, a lot of people are going to take my words and twist it.
Which
right.
is why I gave the rebuttal, actually.
Okay.
To
Go
help
on.
you with that.
Well, I'm not taking any chance with them.
good
all right.
point." Like I said, we have a lot of trolls and a lot of a-holes. So
Now here's the thing.
Okay.
I want everybody to understand. As the head of the Ravens flock, I do not condone any of these actions of sexual harassment. I don't approve of these actions of sexual harassment. In fact, if I may be so blunt, and I've never been this passionate in a long time, if I ever see a con owner in the state of Florida who has a black record on him for sexual harassment,
Or assault.
I will not hesitate to punch him in the face, no matter where I am. And I will do that to anyone else who I run into with a black record that is equivalent to that or worse.
Okay, that's pretty straightforward. So anyone who's a sexual deviant and harasses people and wants
Is
to
the
diddle
lowest
children,
scum on the earth.
and Jose will punch you.
And very specifically, deliberately does so. Because I'm sure we've all had a moment where we got to talking with someone. Oh, hey, you're cute. As soon as we found out they were underage, we all backed off.
I'm not gonna lie. I had that one time, but that was like 11 years ago. And when I found out that they were underage, I ran away. I ran the other way.
Exactly. Like thinking, oh, hey, you're around my age. Let's have fun. As soon as you find out that they're either significantly different underage or underage at all, just backing off. That's all it takes is if you know they're underage or you find out they're underage, you back the fuck up.
I actually remember feeling like the color run down my face when I found out, and I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
It's nice talking to you, and I walked the opposite direction.
Can I read out this stupid statement that was pulled out?
Well,
because
In a minute,
right
yeah.
now
let us set up for it.
Well, yeah, because
yeah, we
gotta explain it.
deviated way too much. All right, let's
Not
go.
really.
this is all like
This is
discussion
all coming
stuff.
to it.
Yeah, like so at
With
the end,
all of this,
Mhm.
he decided to put out a public message on February 2nd.
by he
That's what I
we
was gonna
mean
read.
John Lay.
Yep, by he meaning John Lay. And Jose's actually going to read this off for us.
Yes, go
I'll-
ahead.
Feel free to laugh at it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll stop at the end of every paragraph so you guys can give your little bits or whatever. All right,
And I'll
I
pull it up too so I can read along with you.
And I quote, "In 2015, I was accused of sexual harassment. Some messages surfaced in support of the allegations between me and people I considered close friends. These things I said, while meant to be taken as humor between friends, were wrong. They were crass, and they were in bad taste. I was wrong to send them."
You're right. You were wrong to send them because what part of humor is it to ask
When was the
about
last time you
you
had
had
an
an orgasm? Maybe I can help. And that is a paraphrase, but it's not far off of what he actually said.
All right.
Motherfucker. Continue.
I am making this statement today because these past allegations and comments have resurfaced, and I want to be clear that I know that they were wrong and that I do not stand by or condone them. Sexual harassment is wrong.
If you know that sexual harassment is
It's
wrong, then
wrong.
why are you doing it?
Why did you do it in the first place?
And why are you trying to exchange it with diddling kids? Continue.
Thank
Although my messages were intended to be humorous and not serious, didn't he just repeat that?
you. Yeah.
I realize that my intentions do not outweigh the way my words hurt the people I sent them to. At the time, I didn't realize that I was being hurtful or harassing, and I was shocked to learn that my messages had been so hurtful to their recipients. Again, people I considered my close friends.
Because you're a privileged white douchebag with a mushroom head?
Dude, no, for real. Like,
The guy's got a mushroom head.
Don't insult Toad.
No,
Oh
like,
no, we're not talking that mushroom head.
Okay.
no, like let me put it this way. Like, anyone who knows Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, this
Yeah.
dude makes Billy Corgan look like Fabio.
Ouch.
He's
right.
not. He's really, really not wrong. And how can you not realize that something like that is being hurtful or harassing
Right.
For the record, I am
when
aware
those statements should only ever have been directed to your wife?
and even then, that's kind of shitty to say to your
Yeah,
wife.
All right.
I would be punching Juan if he said that shit
Real
to
quick, for the record, I am aware that Billy Corgan has been hospitalized recently. I wish he has a speedy recovery. I'm not trying to actually insult Billy Corgan. I was saying this the fact of the matter that they were both bald, but this guy looks fugly as fuck. And Billy Corgan isn't necessarily a 10, but this guy makes him look like one. Continue.
It's okay, Juan. Our younger audience won't know who the Smashing Pumpkins are.
No, they won't.
Okay.
me. Moving on.
Since then, I have been taking steps to learn and understand where I went wrong and to make sure I would not repeat these mistakes. I know now that such comments don't belong in any part of my life, especially as a part of a professional working relationship.
Cover my ass, cover my ass, cover my ass, cover my ass, because all these people want to boycott me. Cover my ass.
Oh, real quick. One of the stupid things he said that he's done to like take steps to learn and understand this, he gave himself a free 1 hour sexual harassment training course that he watched on YouTube, and he clicked on a link so that he could have a little printout saying that he's understands sexual harassment is wrong. Like, this is the kind of shit that you would get for like driving school or something if you were like, if there was no governing body to actually administer this fucking thing. You would actually need to have a court-ordered like sexual harassment course over the course of like 2 weeks or something, not like this 1 hour piddly bullshit. Like, you for real, look this up.
Anyway, moving.
All right, moving on. This is a
Continuing.
long one.
bullshit.
All right.
Continue.
Over the past 4 years, I've grown and evolved both as a person and as this convention's CEO.
Bullshit.
One of the most important lessons I have learned over the years is that we must all take responsibility for our actions and understand how they affect others.
Bullshit.
Not intending to cause harm is not an excuse, as now I understand we should all stop for a moment and think about how we say and do might affect the people we interact with. The only way that can happen is through discussion.
Yeah, dude, there is a saying out there that is way older than all of us and yourself. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Not intending to cause harm is the same as having good intentions. And we all know where that leads. Continue.
To wanting to diddle children. Continue.
I have listened to the stories of those who have been harassed, people who have been bullied or objectified, and people who have suffered in silence, afraid of speaking out.
Bullshit.
I understand now that my actions were unacceptable. I sincerely want to apologize to everyone that has been affected by my mistakes, because by recognizing, acknowledging, and apologizing, and not repeating them, is how I will continue to improve as a person.
Cover my ass, cover my ass, cover my ass, cover my ass,
cover my ass, cover my ass.
Cover my ass too, Electric
my
Boogaloo.
ass.
Yes.
Cover my ass.
Stop.
All right, we got it. My past actions have led others to rally against both Anime Matsuri and me.
As they should.
They have also led to the bullying and harassment of several Anime Matsuri guests.
No, it wasn't.
Upon consulting with our attorney, we decided to undertake legal action in an attempt to protect our guests.
Bullshit.
However, the actions we took had the unintended consequences of stifling conversations about sexual harassment.
AKA bringing back up your own bullshit and perpetuating the Streisand effect.
These are important conversations about issues that deeply affect our community, and in an effort to take the step toward making our community one that is united, respectful, and safe, we have decided to withdraw all pending legal action.
Because you have no ground to stand on and you had no business taking legal action against people who are speaking out the truth. Thank you.
It was beautiful. It's so
Moving
stupid.
on.
Like,
Oh, this part I'm
Continue.
going to chuckle
Continue,
about. To those who have been affected by sexual harassment, please speak out. Your voice should be heard.
they
They
did.
have been.
They did. And you're trying to call them liars, and your wife is enabling you and trying to cover you for your ass. They did speak out against you, you dipshit.
Moving on.
In fact,
To those who witness harassment, whether it is a friend, whether it is of a friend or a stranger, please speak out too. Recognizing and calling out harassment as it happens is an important way to help others recognize inappropriate behavior so that they can understand the impact of even unintended wrongs, correct them, and in doing so help build a safer, more supportive community. A community that I am proud to be part of and one that I know my family can be happy in.
Copy pasta much? This sounds like it came out of one of those self-help books and does not show that he actually understands it. It just looks like he's found, oh, hey, this looks like something that will make people like me again. Let me put this here.
Either that or this is something that he didn't even type himself. This is probably something that he spoke through his attorney who probably typed this statement.
no, what's better?
Yeah, probably.
What's better is that this is actually either intentionally or unintentionally lacking in self-awareness, because he's over here saying like, oh, that we should not that we want to make sure that our convention community is happy and stuff. Like, we're speaking out against someone who is perpetuating this shit. You Streisand effect.
Let him finish.
As for
Continue.
me, I want to do whatever I can to bring about a positive change, not just in myself, but in the community as a whole.
Step down.
Yes.
I want to be able to
You and your
look at
wife.
myself, believing that I am doing all I can to leave a positive imprint on the world.
You could do that by stepping down.
I want to serve as an example of how someone can stumble, correct their mistakes, and become a better person.
You can be a better person by stepping down.
More than anything, I want to be able to look at my children in the eye and tell them that I know they can have a home within this community that we love so much.
He has children?
He breeds.
He has children, and he's doing this. Someone needs to take a look at his home life. Because if he's doing this to other children,
Whoa.
These
That
things
didn't even
start-
occur to me.
these things start at home.
This didn't even occur to me.
Oh,
You sure
boy, yeah.
about that?
These things start at home.
I mean, remember, folks, this is just our opinion. You're not wrong.
Yeah,
I'm-
Patty. No,
I
Patty.
am speaking.
Oh,
Unfortunately, I am speaking from experience. These things do tend to start in the home, and then if they are shut down at home, either due to finding out or the threat of report, then that's when they decide to start reaching outside of the home.
Yeah.
Finish up, yo.
Finish
My
up.
goal has always been and will continue to be to bring the best parts of this amazing community to our city. To make a place where all of our passionate attendees and guests can feel safe, welcomed, and accepted.
Step down.
Step down.
To put Houston and Texas on the map in the anime community and to give its residents opportunities to participate in something that would otherwise be inaccessible to them.
There are other conventions
Hang on.
in that area,
Let me finish.
so
And there are
Let
other
me-
ways to get sexually
Let
harassed.
me
You
read
don't need
this
to bring that
last
into
part,
account.
which is also funny. I owe it to all to you all to do better. I can do better. I will do better, and I sincerely apologize.
if you sincerely apologize, you should be stepping down and taking yourself away from the problem, because the problem at hand is not just that you are sexually harassing people, but you're sexually harassing and predating on children. You need to remove yourself from the temptations, good sir.
That was not a sincere apology, in my opinion. He's
It wasn't.
apologizing because he got caught.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're not sorry you did wrong. You're just
Just
sorry
sorry
you
you
got caught.
That was quite a show. Truly
We had
into
to go.
going.
No,
Yes,
it's,
Rihanna.
Yes.
Thank you. We
no,
love
it's
you.
all good. Like, no, it's just like this is not a sincere apology. You want to give a sincere apology? That's great. Why don't you reach out to the person who to the victim themselves
And make
want-
restitution.
Exactly.
yeah,
fuck's
and
sake.
yeah, reach out to the victim and talk to them.
No.
Well, I mean, in my
no.
opinion,
That normally is a really good advice. In most situations, that would actually be the best thing to do, is to reach out to the person. However, in a situation like this,
Where it's beyond reproach.
not that, it's the people who have been harassed or abused, they don't want to talk to
Their abuser or
their
harasser.
abuser or harasser ever again. He can make restitution without contacting this person directly.
How so?
Reach out to that person's representative or the like. There are ways of reaching out to the person that's been harassed without directly contacting.
All right.
Fair
Have
enough.
his lawyer contact their representative.
Okay, fair enough.
Stuff like that.
All I'm saying is that, blanket statements like these that are posted online about saying like, "Oh, I'm sorry everyone, I apologize, I will become a better person." That is not a sincere apology. You have stained your reputation. You have sullied your hands, and in doing so, you fucking have kids. Your kids will learn this stuff.
If it's not happening to them.
Remember, we don't know that.
No, all right,
True.
fair enough. I know. I'm just like, I know. It's a
But-
theory, but I
but
wouldn't discount it.
If it's not happening to them, they are learning that this stuff is okay and that mom will back you up because his wife is backing him
Yeah,
up.
I was going to say, it's the internet. The kids could easily look it up and find out themselves.
Again, if they're not actually seeing it happen or enduring it themselves.
All right.
May every bit of knocking on wood and prayers that it is not actually happening to those kids.
All right. And another thing I wanted to mention is that guys like this jizz bag right over here.
Give guys like you
89.
give all
no,
guys a bad
times
name.
500.
Whatever.
588.
Whatever.
508.
They give guys a bad name.
They give guys a bad name. All over.
I'm fucking it up for the rest of us. I don't have any desire to diddle kids or anything. I'll find a girl that's attractive and shit. But I'm
And
not gonna
then
approach them.
then he points them out to me and asks, rating of 1 to 10, and I take a look at the butt. And I'm like,
Jeez.
maybe.
By girl, I mean I mean like a lady who's who
Grown woman, we all know
grown
this.
woman or whatever.
No,
Like,
I mean,
that's-
I agree. And I'm not the type of guy to do any of that shit, too. If I meet a female at a con, I will take a picture if they're in cosplay. I'll say hi.
After asking permission, of
After
course.
asking permission, of course.
Consent is important, people.
It's implicit in my response.
No, I'm not saying this for your benefit.
Oh,
to you.
yeah,
I'm
right,
saying
for-
this to our listeners.
To
Yes.
our intelligent folk.
After,
Yes.
and those who may not actually quite understand,
Undereducated then.
anytime you take a photo of someone at a convention, please ask their permission first.
Okay.
Cosplay is not consent.
Okay.
We have
fair enough.
banners about this. There was literally a campaign.
The
about this.
point that I'm trying to get is
Sorry.
that this guy has absolutely, and among other people who have black records for fucking sexual harassment, they are ruining it for everyone else. They are ruining it for all the guys. And you know what? This doesn't discriminate because females who do sexual harassment, they're
just as bad.
They're just as bad too.
They are just as bad.
Like, yes, it is known to happen, folks. There will be ladies who will be sexually harassing to dudes. What's his name? A while ago, there was a cosplayer, fanservice Renji, right?
Yes.
Yes, and like he's a smexy dude. He's shredded, and as you can tell by his cosplay name, he's known for cosplaying Renji from Bleach, Renji Gabarai, and you've had girls putting themselves all over him.
Stop that.
Sorry, like rubbing up on his chest
Stop
and shit
that, please.
without his permission. Sorry, I was like stroking,
Notachi.
KStorm's arm, and I guess I gave her an Indian burn. don't know.
Notachi.
Sorry about that, but like the point that I'm making is that like you have ladies who will do the same thing with like hot guys. I can only imagine, like heaven forbid it should happen to like dudes like Leon Chiro or whatever. Like that dude is abtastic.
Absolutely
Coming back to
abtastic.
Regardless of gender identity, cosplay is not consent. Just because these people come and on the subject of Mr. Lee, just because these people come to your conventions and dress up and maybe dressing skimpy doesn't mean you get to mess with them, because guess what? Above and beyond anything else, you're married.
This fucking guy. No, you're talking about John Lee. Jesus.
Yes, Mr. Lee is Lee, however that is said. You, sir, you are married. Shame on you. And Miss Lee, shame on you for letting him do it.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Fucking scumbags.
Shame.
Shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame.
Shame. Yeah, I know.
Come
I'm
on.
sorry. I'm too
Join in
mad.
the
I'm
shame.
too mad. I'm too mad to shame. And you know what? For the listeners out there, if there's any of you listening to this that actually, gives a thumbs up to this kind of behavior, guess what? You're banned. You're banned from listening to us on iTunes. You're
no.
banned from listening to us on YouTube.
Let them listen.
And let them learn the shame.
Because if they listen, maybe, just maybe, they'll learn better. You can't ban them.
Now,
If you ban them, they'll never learn.
Now, this is something that I want to bring this in to conclude the episode here. Since we're now pairing our episodes with polls on Facebook, what we're going to be asking is pretty straightforward. Considering the allegations of sexual assault and possible possible sexual assault of harassment of a minor, should John and Denise Lee step down from leadership of Anime Matsuri? We're going to ask you guys, everyone listening on iTunes, to go to facebook.com/theravensflock and give us your vote.
Absolutely.
We should also put up a second poll, and I think that we will after the results of this poll comes in. Knowing these accusations, having heard these accusations, and having done your own research, will you still be attending
Anime Matsuri.
Anime Matsuri?
Yep.
Agreed. Agreed.
That's a good one. I think
I'll allow it.
All right, awesome. Thank you for allowing a second poll. But yeah, no. In all seriousness, though, to bring this matter to a close, this has like many factors in this situation. We've got the censorship of Scarfing Scarves, and we're not talking about monetized censorship, which is bullshit that people complain about. That's not form of censorship. It just means that your ass doesn't make money off of your bullshit like Onision. Anyway,
It's not even really a matter of censorship under the standard accepted meanings of censorship. It was nothing more than an attempt to silence criticism and silence someone who is putting out there, oh hey, this person did wrong.
And if you're supporting their colleagues or whatever who model for this con, then you're supporting this guy's behavior. So like, this is really charged. Obviously, Jose got pissed off. I got pissed off. KStorm got pissed off, and
KStorm's been pissed off.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say we're rightfully pissed at this guy, and we've been reblogging and recycling the posts from Scarfing Scarves and from Boycott Anime Matsuri continuously regarding the situation. We'll continue to do so because we care about the con world. We care about the con scene, and if you have convention owners who are behaving like this or who are otherwise being unethical,
report them immediately.
Then
find the right person to report it to.
Yes.
If it is not something that you can immediately provide evidence of, ask around. Talk to friends. Talk to friends of friends. Get evidence. We all know the cops aren't really going to do something without evidence of it.
And say something about it. Speak up.
Start speaking up. Spread your stories.
And be sure to share your stories with us and the Ravens Flock as well. We'll help you out. We've got your back. It's one thing that we pride ourselves on is by defending the truth.
We speak for those who either cannot speak themselves or do not have the reach to speak for themselves.
Your voice, our mission.
Damn right.
Damn straight.
All right. I think we're too pissed off. We need to eat dinner or something.
We need to eat.
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
eat.
I'm
Okay.
starting to get hangry.
I'm gonna go ahead and wrap us up. That's been our latest episode of the Ravens Flock here. Thank you, KStorm, for joining in. Thank you to Scarfing Scarves for sticking with us. Keep fighting the good fight. And with the organization Boycott Anime Matsuri, we will continue to support you guys over here in Florida. I know that it's not a Texas it's a Texas problem, but this is a geek problem. Continue to listen.
Friends in Texas.
Yeah, we got friends in Texas, so they know about this shit.
So protect.
Exactly, yes. Be sure to continue listening to us here on iTunes. Give us a thumbs up, rate, review, subscribe, share it with your friends. Give us a tasty mathematical algorithm and build it up. and be sure to vote on our poll on Facebook.com/TheRavensFlock. Continue to follow us on Twitter.com/RavensFlock13 and Instagram.com/TheRavensFlock online, and of course our main channel YouTube.com/Casabona. That's it for us for now. Thank you very much for listening in to this episode. This has been the Black Files, and we are out.
You guys want a box of chocolate?
Never know what you're gonna get.
Never know what you're gonna get.